Okay, welcome back everyone. Today we're actually going to, we've done some, or we've already done some episodes where we've done some things individually on their own, an Active Directory, DHCP and other stuff. We're all going to, now I'm going to compile everything into the one video. So warning, this video is going to be quite long, it should be maybe more than an hour. I might break it up into 3 sections, but so we're going to go and do quite a lot of things. Let's pretend that we've got a greenfields installation. There's nothing there, and we're in charge of setting up a whole infrastructure, so it's be really exciting. Let's jump into my little whiteboard, and we'll do this step by step, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is let me just get my notes out. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to create a virtual machine. I'm going to quickly show you where to get the ISOs for these. So we're going to create a virtual machine first of all, and which means that we're going to install Windows 2016. Install Windows 2016. We're then going to install on that machine an Active Directory domain service, and within that, the first part will be we need to change the computer name. We're then going to change the IP address. Okay. Then part 4 will be we're going to install another Active Directory domain service. Sorry, before we do that, we're going to promote this server as a domain controller. So we're going to promote it. All right. Then we're going to do it again. We're going to do this step again, but this time this will be a secondary domain controller. Step 6 will then we'll do some things like create user accounts and OUs. Okay. Part 7 we'll install a DHCP server, and then we'll have to move up a bit. Part 8 we'll configure a DNS server. So we'll set up a DNS server. Now usually on the actual domain controller will be a DNS, but we'll add another one just in case. Number 9, we'll set up an IPAM server. We'll just set it up and have a quick look at it. All right, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Go to that desktop too. So now I've got my clients here, but I don't have any servers. I did have one before. I've set it up, but they're all gone now. Now these clients don't have domains anymore. So by the way, we might over in our whiteboard we'll have to somewhere here. We'll have to squeeze it in somewhere. We'll do one GPO, a group policy object. All right, let's get this on the road. So easy here. We'll right click, new virtual machine. Now to get these virtual machines, I'm going to send some links in the description so that you can go and find it. Go get those ISOs from the Windows. So you can do it. You can do this without pirating. You can get a evaluation edition of the Windows 10 and Windows 2016. All right. So the name of this virtual machine is going to be Windows First DC. Well, you know what? I'll change Windows. I'll just call it Harry First DC, First Domain Controller. I'm going to choose where I'm going to store this virtual machine. I've got my virtual machine folder where I put my stuff in. This is a dedicated hard drive, SSD, because I like it to be faster. Actually, let me go back. Sorry, I'm in the wrong screen here. So I'm over here. Let's start that again. So we'll go to right-click the name of my computer there. New, virtual machine, next, and Harry the first DC. Choose where I want to choose the location for this file, which will be over in virtual machines, and there we go. So just remember, guys, I'm not editing this. This is raw and crazy and wild. I don't want to edit in the real world scenario. Nothing goes perfect. We're going to make heaps of mistakes. We're going to figure our way around it. This is actually the second time I'm recording this today. The first time I completely made a huge mess of it. So I thought I'm just going to start again. I'm not going to edit the video. I'm just going to go straight and see how we go. Alright, so then we go next. We'll choose generation 1 and 2. Choose generation 1 for lab purposes. In production, you probably want to do generation 2. We'll give it we'll give it memory of, might need to put numlocks on it. That's all right, enough. About 4 gigs should be enough. I'm going to connect it to my private LAN. I've created this because I want to isolate this from the network. Don't want this to be connected to my personal network. We'll give it a 40 gig hard drive. So this is the maximum. It's like the RAM here. It's dynamic, which means that it might only use 1 gig, but the maximum of 4 gigs there. Same here, maximum of 40 gigs. Don't make this lower than 40 gigs though, because it's at 30 gigs might be enough to install, or 20 gigs even, but you might want to install programs on it. Alright, so this is the really important. This is where we select our ISO. Now the last video that I made, I selected Windows 10 Enterprise. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start this whole video again. So let's go back into Enterprise. And I'm going to select, I was going to do it again. It's drawing me to that. I don't know what's happening here. I want Windows 2016 ISO. So I need to go to a location where I've got that. Just have it, you know. It's in sometimes when you're in IT world, you're in this automatic mode. It's like when you drive a car to work. You leave home and you get to work and you can't remember a thing because you're in automatic mode, and that will hurt in IT world. You need to be focused and concentrating. So now that I'm concentrating, I've got my ISO. I'm going to next that. I'm going to finish it. Okay. All right. So now, why is it failing to? It's not happy for some reason. Let me try that again. No, it's not happy with that. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to have a quick look, see what I can find, and then I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so I went down and had a look at it, and I've already created that file before in the previous lesson. I didn't delete it though, so let's delete it. So that's something that we can fix now. It's a learning moment. So I've already created this folder, and it's already there. I'm going to delete it. Now if I go back again, let me just put that there. Next. Yep, still there. Finish. And there's some more errors. Okay, let's try it again. Let's try to get that server's ISO image again. We'll try that again. Okay, that's one of those things. Well, so we got it up and running now. So let's connect to this first before we start. So that's starting now. And I'm going to jump into the actual client. 1 second. Okay, beautiful. So now we're in this machine now. So now let's start it, and we might need to press a key to be able to start the installation. All right, cool. Excellent. And we'll put time and currency as Melbourne, Australia. We're in Melbourne, so we'll find Australia here somewhere. And we're going to install now. This part doesn't really take that long. This is where I should have realized my previous installation was wrong, because I'd never got this option. But anyway, we're going to go and select Data Center Evaluation, Desktop Experience. Okay. Go to Next, accept the licenser, and just the standard normal installation. I'm not going to go and talk too much and going deep into this part, but I will pause this and we'll be back shortly. Actually, what we'll do is, while we're waiting for that, why don't we just go create the other ISO? Let's not waste any time. Let's be efficient with our time. So I'm gonna create another 2 servers actually. One of them will be the second domain controller. Then we'll create a DHCP server that has DNS on it as well. So we'll create another server with DHCP and another DNS server, because remember the domain controller, the first one, has DNS already there. But we'll create another server with DHCP and DNS. All right, so let's do those. Same things. Let me jump back into the screen while that's the other screen. There we go. So let's right click, new virtual machine. Next, this one we're going to call Harry second DC. And we're going to save it in the location where I like to put my virtual machines. And I'm just going to fly through these. Make sure it's LAN private switch. Again, should be the same one there. Perfect. Next, finish. Great. And I'm going to connect and start that. Let's have a look at the first one. How the first one's going. Keep an eye on it. It looks like it's still going. Oh, this is the new one that we're going to fix up. Okay, let's have a look at the first domain controller. Okay, it's still going. Awesome. We'll go to this new one that we're setting up. This is our second domain controller. Again, I'm just being efficient here. I'm trying not to waste time. While the other machine is loading and setting up, we can do this. We can make sure that we don't waste time. Install. So this is our second DC, second domain controller. Again, we'll click that. And that's on its way now. We'll do a third server, which will be DHCP and DNS. Now there's many ways you can do this, but usually DHCP, so this one's going to be our, Harry, DHCP and DNS. There's so many different ways you can set this up. Best practice is to have DHCP away from your domain controller if you can. Awesome, we'll flow through this again. 496, 4 gigs of of memory, and private. Okay, next. I know that's, we'll double check that, make sure it's perfect, yes. Next that and finish that, and that's on its way. All right, let's connect to it. I understand that I didn't change screens, I just realized. So we've seen this already, so there's no need for me to edit this or anything. But let's so I've done all the usual. Okay, so this is what the new virtual machine looks like, the DHCP DNS. Just quickly, I'll just show you quickly because I missed out on that one. Let's just I'll show you what I did very quickly. Virtual machine, again, I just did DHCP DNS, call it whatever you like. Storing it, where I usually stored it. Change the memory, change that to LAN private switch, and I changed that to 40. And then I made sure that the ISO was correct, and then I finalized that. That was all I did, nothing different. All right. Let's jump back into that. So the other server's installing. The first DC is up to this stage, that's good. We're still there. Windows 2016 is still going. Our secondary domain controller is still moving. Yep. And this one here, let me add a new scene to OBS. So many scenes everywhere. There we go. Lots and lots of stuff going on. But pause and if you need to. There we go. All right. So let's go back in here. Select English, Australia, and we'll just install that. So we've got 3 installations of Windows 2016. Perfect. We'll next start. We're just flying through this. All right, now let's go back to our first domain controller. Over here. First DC. I'm just going to put a usual password. And we'll let that go. We'll do Alt Control Delete, and we'll put our password in there, and it's incorrect. Perfect. Awesome. So now we just have to wait now. So let's quickly have a look at our topology. Just really quickly, we'll go back to our whiteboard. So this is what our topology is going to look like. We're going to have our Harry first DC up here. DC. We're going to have Harry second DC. We're going to have another server here, something like Harry DHCP.DNS. Then later on, we need to create another one called Harry IPAM. Okay, so we'll need to create 4 servers in this lab environment. All right. All right, so let's have a look at what's going on here. All right, let's jump in here. So we're going to create our first DC, and we're going to load this up. By the way, just really quickly, go to the whiteboard. Our IP addresses. Our IP address will be. Let me change the color. It's going to be 192.168.0.2. Actually, you know what? Let's be professional. It'll be 10.0.0.2. This will be .3.4 10.5. Now I will have two virtual machines with Windows 10. Okay, that will be our topology. Awesome. Okay. So let's set the first domain controller up. So first of all, we need to right click and go into Systems. We need to change the computer name. Alright, so we'll go to change settings. It could be different in your scenario. If it's new, you'll have to find another way of doing the computer name. But it'll be in this. It'll have system settings. It will have off the top of my head, I can't remember, but just Google on how to change a computer name. So I'm going to call this. In my other videos, I do have the new way of changing the domain name. So Harry First DC. I'll need to restart this computer. Before I restart, I'm just going to change the IP address very quickly. I'm going to just hold on for a bit before I restart. I'm going to change the IP address. 10.0. I'm very sure I pressed that numlock like 100 times, but anyway, that'll be a 01, or sorry, 1. My bad, 2. 255, 255, 255, and the default gateway I'm going to put it as 1. I don't have a default gateway. And the DNS server is going to be the one that we're at. This is a loopback address. So this is saying the DNS server is here. It's at this machine here. Alright, okay, so we've changed the IP address. Now we can restart the machine. Alright, now let's jump to our second domain controller. Okay, so this is our second one. Let's put a password there. We'll log in. We'll change the computer name and we'll change the IP address as well. We'll just go into System. We'll do it the same way. Computer name. So in this section in the system settings, it might be a bit different. I must have an old version of Windows 2016. I should probably download a newer version. So Windows, sorry, Harry second DC. Next. Yep. I'm going to change the IP address. IP address up. That numlock's driving me crazy. 3, 255, 255, 255. Gateway, again, it's going to be 1, but even though I haven't set it up yet. DNS server is actually going to be not this machine, but it's going to be 2, the main domain controller. Okay, perfect. 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 Before I do that, I'm just going to do a quick IP config. I know I'm going really fast, but pause if you want to double check what I'm doing. Yeah, that's perfect. Exit that. I'm going to restart this secondary domain controller. I'll leave the other server for now. And let's jump back to DC client. Sorry, Harry's first DC. Okay. So when you're doing something like this, it's good to have a game plan, like a list of what you want to do step by step. So I can see that there's nothing here, no domain controller. So we'll go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. Next again, we can see Harry's first DC computer names there. The IP address is there that we want. Static, so these servers should be static IP address. And next, then we're going to select on Active Directory domain service and add all the features. Okay, group policy will be selected automatically. And next, and we're just going to just really quickly. Now that should be okay. Having a quick look here. Okay, fine. We'll install that now. Okay, shouldn't take too long. While that's installing, let's jump back to our Active Directory domain controller, the second one. Actually, that's not it. 1 second. There it is. So that's the domain controller 2, the second one. Now, we don't have much time, so we've got to be doing two things at the same time sometimes. So that's why there's another incentive to concentrate even more. All right, so I'm just going to wait for that red thing to go away, if it does. If not, let's just add roles and features. Same thing as exactly the same as the other. Active Directory domain service. So at this stage, it's the same as the primary or the first directory service. A domain controller. And we'll install. All right, let's jump back to the first DC, and that's finished. We'll close it, but we'll see the flag up here. It's saying that we need to promote this server as a domain controller. Now this is where the first domain controller is going to be different than the second domain controller. So take note now. We're going to add a new forest, and we're going to call it harry.com. And next step. Now, if you were doing a read-only domain controller, Rodoc, this is where you select it, but we're not. We're going to just put a DSRM password, just in case you accidentally delete the Active Directory database. You'll need that. Ignore that. This will create a domain service already. And we'll just wait for this to complete. Okay, good. We'll just next that. Okay, awesome. Next. Now, if you're interested, you can click View Script, and this View Script here, you can use it for another day to do it through PowerShell. So you don't need to go through the GUI again. Nice and handy. All right, we'll let it do its thing now. It's just going to. You might see some yellow exclamation marks there. For the most part, you probably could get away with ignoring that. All right, it's passed successfully. Install, and it will restart, and it should take about 20 minutes. Shouldn't take too much more than 20 minutes. While that's doing that, we'll jump back to our other server, our secondary domain controller, and then we'll see the differences. Put the the yellow flag there. Promote this server, but I'm going to add a domain controller to an existing domain. Now, I can't do this yet because my other domain controller hasn't finished installing yet. So we'll have to wait. And it's just signing out at the moment. Over here you can see it's signing out. It will reinstall. All right, so while we're doing that, we'll wait for that to be completed. Should take about 20 minutes, maybe less. While we're waiting for that, how about we go back to our other client where for our DHCP DNS server. Let's get that up and running. lots going on, right? There's heaps and heaps of stuff happening. So this is our DHCP DNS server. So we're going to have another DNS server. I just want to install and show you how to install it. We won't be doing anything with it in the lab. Just want to show you how to find it and install. Cool. So we're still waiting for our first domain controller to complete. And I'm just double checking on it now, seeing how it's going. Yeah, it's still applying. It should take about 20 minutes. We're going to change the name of this one as well, and the IP address. That I will do that on all the servers. All right, so right click and system and change settings. I'm going to call it Harry DHCP DNS. All right, yep, we know that. I'm not going to restart yet because I want to change the IP address. We'll give it a 10.0.0.0. What was it? 2, 3. I think it's a 5, isn't it? No, it's a 4. It'll be a .4. Default gateway again, .1. It's not existing yet, but it will. And this is our domain controller, our main one. Go to OK. We'll OK that, and now we'll restart. So this is our DNS. We'll install another Windows 2016 when we get to the IPAM section. IPAM, IP Address Management System. It has to be separate. It can't be on the same domain control. Sorry, the same machines as the DHCP and DNS servers. It has to be separate. It's a completely different topic. So let's have a look. Is our first DC? Yeah, it's still going, still applying. We have to wait for this to finish before we can start our second domain controller. So we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is what we do in the real world. This is real world stuff. So I'm not editing. I'm not beautifying. I'm not making it pretty and attractive. This is real stuff. All right. So let's have a look. So our DHCP and DNS has completed its computer name change and IP address. Let me just clean this up a bit. Good. All right. So yeah, our DHCP is ready to go. We won't configure it just yet. We'll wait until the other systems, other servers are up and running. Awesome. So let's check. I'm going to check up on my first one. That's still going. So while it's going, how about I set up a fourth Active Directory, which is going to, a fourth member server. We call them member servers, which is going to be looking after IPAM. So let's go back to desktop. Right click, create new virtual machine. Next, and this is called the IPAM. So it's the Harry IPAM. Since I'm doing this without editing, if there's any issues, if there's an error, if there's a mistake, please let me know, and I'll see if I can fix it. Especially in the description, especially the way that I've described this and how to do this. Let me know so I can give you some more explanation if you want. You know what I might do? I thought I had a newer version of... Alright, you know what I'm going to do? I've got an updated version of Windows Server 2016 I'll show you how to change the computer name the new way. Alright, so that's on its way. You'll notice here that the DNS server up here, it's using its full memory. Whereas the first domain controller, it's only using less than a gig. The second DC is not using that much either. But anyway, let's start the IPAM. Let's connect first. I'll start that. There we go. Sometimes you might run into you need to tap something. There are settings where you can change that. But let's go to English Australia. Next, install. So this is our IPAM server we're looking at. Just keeping an eye on our other. There it is. Our first domain controller is ready to go. But let's just finish IPAM just really quickly. Get that installation out of the way. Okay, good. All right, let's go back to our domain controller. Took less than 20 minutes, by the way. Awesome. So this is really good. Like, there's a lot of stuff we're doing here. Just pause and go back a bit. I do have videos just isolating this process for individual processes. We're just putting everything together. We're combining the whole lot. We're doing it from start to beginning. So I don't recommend that you watch this first of all. If this is the first video, go to my other videos that I've created. So that you can see it individually. This is just combining everything that we've learned into one package. I don't think I've even set up a video on IPAM yet. I might do that. So now if I go to Tools, there's Active Directory there. It's now been promoted to the domain controller. Got group policy there. Now, that's good. We're happy with that. We're going to leave this for a bit. We're going back to the second server, Harry's second domain controller, which is over here. Or is it? No, that's not it. Gotta find it. Lost it. Oh, there we go. So this is the second domain controller. Okay. So we're going to add a domain controller to an existing domain, and the name of the domain is harry.com. Now, if they're on the same network, I'll be able to type administrator, which is the administrator for the domain controller, the first one, and I should be able to log in very easily. It's selecting domain. Okay, so far so good. You must supply account name, which I thought I did. Let's try that again. Let me just pause this and just check on to see what's happening here. Okay, I just forgot the domain, so it'll be Harry/administrator. I just put administrator in and it wasn't happy with that, so I don't need to change the password for this. So we'll go back. By the way, let me just show you what I meant. Harry/administrator. Add domain controller to existing domain, and that's the name of the domain. We'll go to next. I can choose read-only domain controller if I want to, but I'm just going to continue on. Right, I'll put the password in here. And same thing again, it will need DNS, it will need, so I'm going to replicate. So this is replication. The primary will have the domain controller and the DNS stuff already been configured. we're just going to replicate the Active Directory to this domain controller. This is the local database is there, set there. Next. And in the previous screen, you can download the PowerShell script as well. All right, almost finished that. Install. And I think very shortly we'll do a restart. If it's happy here, then we can install the DHCP server and DNS server as well, the third one. Then after that, we'll do things like controlling. We'll set up user accounts, and we'll do one group policy, and we'll have a quick look at IPAM. That'll be it for today. So this looks like this will go over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So I'll do the one full video, and then I'll separate it into 3 parts later on. We'll get the whole video up and running first. I'm just going to pause until this finishes. I just want to make sure this works before we go to DHCP server. By the way, this server here is the DHCP. So this is the IPAM server, IPAM. I'm just going to get this going while I wait for the secondary domain controller to finish. So I don't like waiting. I'll remember, if you do 2 or 3 things at the same time, which we do in IT all the time, just make sure you have a game plan. Write it down somewhere. The step by step that you want to do, so you don't get lost, which happens to me all the time. So I'm only joking, it doesn't happen all the time, but all right, so let's go. We're jumping back to the secondary. It's restarting. Okay, there we go. That's the secondary DC, so it's restarting. This is running. This is smooth. I know that we've couple of little small niggly issues. It's like football players or soccer players, like a little bit of a hamstring or strip. We've sprained our finger or something. We just put some ice on it and put the magic spray on, in the soccer players, and jump back on. So we haven't had a big knee reconstruction or shoulder surgery or broken bone or something. We're actually a couple of niggles here and there, but we're going through this really, really smoothly. Not much has gone wrong. That's good. It's a good thing. In the real world scenarios, there will be a lot of things that will go wrong all the time. But the most important thing is to work on your labs, get all your practice in the labs, and make all your mistakes there. So in production environment, deployment environments, that you don't make your mistakes there. I'm going to pause until this finishes. I just want to make sure this works before I work on my DHCP and DNS server. So I'll be back shortly. Fantastic. So that was a little quicker than the first domain controller. So this is our secondary domain controller, don't forget. I could have just told you how to do it, but I actually want to do this so that you can replicate this in a lab environment, your own setup. I want you to follow this step by step so you can actually do it. A lot of the training, a lot of instructors will say, when you get to this part, you can do that or you can do that. I actually wanted to do both. So for example, we could say as instructors, we could say to you, if you're doing the primary domain controller, the first one, this is how you're going to do it, and we'll do that. But if you wanted to do a second one, this is how you do it. I didn't want to do that. I actually wanted to do it in practical environments. So I'm hoping that that's helpful for everyone watching. I've got tools, Active Directory, and if I go to use this is the secondary domain control that we're working on here. Just have to wait for this to load a bit. We'll see that, should I wait? I'm very impatient. Okay, there we go. So we can see that we've got something here. Let me just quickly, I'm going to go back into the first domain controller. This is the first one. let's create an organizational unit. So we'll do this part. We'll do this first. So we'll we'll go into Active Directory users and groups. So this is the first domain controller. We'll create, right click, new organizational unit, call it sales. We'll right click, create new user, call it Luke Skywalker, L Skywalker, not Waker, Walker. Next, I'm going to, I don't want any issues with the password. Okay, we're going to next that and finish. Alright, now let's see what happens. But that's another task. So that's one of the tasks that we're wanting to do. That's clicked, finished. Actually, you know what I might do? Why not? Let's create a new one, another one. New organizational unit, OU, and we'll call it management. Right click, new user, call it Harry Potter. H.Potter. These users will be ready to go, be able to use it. Great. I'm just going to refresh that. Let's jump into the second domain controller. Where is it? Got to find it. There we go. Let's go into Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers, and voila! How cool is that? This is the Active Directory second. It has replicated, and to prove it, let's go to Desktop. So I've got Harry first DC up here, and I've got Harry second DC. So that just replicated. Sales, management, sales and management. How cool is that? So we've got a redundant, the only thing is I can't really change anything on the secondary, which is over here. It gets replicated from the first domain controller. So that's out of the way. So we've got the domain controllers done, finished. We've created an organization unit. We've created a user account. So now we're going to set up some DHCP now. Let's jump over to our DHCP here. Let's see if we can zone in. Not that one. I've got so many windows, so many things open on. There we go. All right, so this is our DHCP and DNS. Okay, let's set up DHCP first. So we'll go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. Go to Next. Next again. It's our IP address, our computer name. Next again. We'll do DHCP server first. We'll do DNS later, but let's do it this step by step. Add features. Next. Next it. That's pretty much it. And install. Now let's. I'm going to. This is interesting because I've got some. I have some clients already that were on previous labs, so they're going to try and log into domains. I might. I'm just going to put pause. I'll see if I can fix these really quickly. Actually, what I'll do, I'm going to right click. I'm going to connect to these. We'll log in as the local administrator, and we'll jump out of them. We will say to them, we're going to go back to a work group. So we're going to leave the domain, and we'll sign in again to a new domain. Should work this way. But let's, so we'll do that in a second. Let me see how my other virtual machine is going. Gotta find where it is first. Got all these machines up and running. It's crazy. Ah, here we go. All right. I need an editor. I need someone who go into a video studio or something. The real professionals to do this. But all right, so we're going to close that and we'll click on there, on the flag, and we're going to complete the DHCP configuration. So this is going to create security groups. Commit it. Restart DHCP server. Yep, that's fine. And next, so DHCP is up and running. All right, let's jump into DHCP. We'll do some scopes. It says a tick there, but nothing's happening yet. Let's right-click that and click on a new scope. Go to next. I'm going to fly through this because I've already described this already. I'm going to do the Harry. I've already done this in previous videos. So IP address, IP domain scope. Start address. I'm going to say 10.0.0.0.30 all the way to 254, the last one. I'm going to make the length, it's the side annotation, 24 bits, 255, 255, 255.0. Next, don't worry about exclusions. I'm not going to do exclusions in this scenario. The lease is fine at 8 days. Do I want to configure these options now? Yes, I do. Because I want to tell my clients where the DNS server is and where the router is, the gateway. Now I'm going to send this to where the domain controller is. I really should put this on the server I'm configuring now because this is where the DNS server is. I've got 3 DNS servers up, by the way, one for each domain controller, and this is a standalone, but I'm lazy. I just want this to work today. Next. Sorry, my bad. This is the actual gateway address. This is where I'm going to put the DNS server, and it's already configured there. I could do this as well. This is the secondary Active Directory. It'll validate this. Pause that and wait till it finishes. I can't put this on this machine yet. The next, this one that we're running, because I haven't installed it yet. We'll go to next. Don't worry about WinServer. Do I want to activate the scope? Yes. I would usually say no, but will I say yes because we're in a lab environment? You'd say no because you want to do other configurations first, but let's do that. And it should be activated. Should be good to go. I don't think we need to activate. I think it's good. Yeah, it's good to go. It's active. So DHCP is up and running. Now let's jump back to, let's go to our client. Now it's Harry Potter. I'm going to log in locally because I want to jump out of the old DC because it's connected to an old DC. No, let's be crazy. Let's see if this works. No, it's not going to work. Let's go log in locally. So I'm going to jump out of the last domain that I was in. Oopsie. What's the password? Hang on, I'm going to put pause. I'm going to find out what it is. Okay, so I'm having issues with my clients here. I'm just going to set up a new Windows 10 machine. We'll do that now, really super quick. So Windows 10 client. I can fix it, but it's just going to take time. I want to get this up and running quickly. Everything, you can fix pretty much everything, but I'm just set up a new machine, start from scratch. So we do everything as usual. Now this time I'm going to go to my desktop, Windows 10, no, not that one. I want my trial version. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pause, set Windows 10, Windows XP, sorry, Windows 10 up and running. I'm going to set that up and I'll be back shortly. Alright, so I'm just installing Windows 10 now. While that's doing that, why don't we do something else so we don't waste time? It will be able to do different things. Let's go into IPAM. How about we jump into IPAM? We haven't seen that for a while. Over here, so we can get a close-up of that. Alright, so now let's install IPAM. We'll change the computer name first. I think we might have, no, I don't think we did. So go to System, change Settings. Okay, IPAM. I was hoping this would be the new way of doing it, but I don't know. Really weird. Anyway. Maybe it could be just a Windows 10 thing. Where it's just a new way. Actually, when we go into Windows 10 on our installer, I'll have a look to see if it's the new way of changing computer names. It's not that difficult, but... Alright, let's do the IP address. Now, IPAM is a software, is a role where it's going to manage our IP address. So it needs to be on a virtual machine or on a computer that's not managed. So it can't manage itself. It manages other. So it's going to interact with DNS and DHCP server already. It's just going to interact with that. That's what IPAM is. You need we need to talk about that in another episode, I guess. It's not a lengthy topic, but you can imagine that, oops, what, 10.0.0, and I forgot which one it was. We're up to number 6, I think. Yes, no, it's number 5. So, you know, you can imagine that there's a lot of IP addresses floating around on the system. So IPAM address, instead of having lots, if you've got lots of DHCP, lots of DNS servers, you want to use IPAM. Actually, we'll do that. It's fine. Then OK. So we're going to restart our IPAM server. So IPAM will, when we do it, we'll need administration privileges, and then it's just going to go out and find our DHCP and DNS servers. It's pretty cool. But I want to finish my DNS server installation first. Okay, so IPAM, now we'll put it to the side for a bit, and we'll have a look to see if my Windows 10 machine is how it's going. Now it's still going. Okay. You know, I'm thinking of different ways of doing this, but no, we'll stick to the plan. Let's go to Tools, Management, Add Roles and Features. Yep, that's good so far. And let's have a look for, so we'll keep going, I'll go to Next, and IP Address Management Server. We'll go to Add Features. Oh, you know what's happened? We haven't logged on to a domain from this server. We should probably log on to the domain. We need to log on to our Active Directory. So we'll right-click, System. Forgot about that. Change Settings. The computer name we don't have to change, but we do need to log on to this domain. Silly me. So we'll go to harry.com. And we'll log in with administrative privilege. Okay, we'll need to restart again. I've completely forgot about that. All good. While that's doing that, let's jump into our Windows. Just finish the Microsoft 10 configuration. I'm going to do this really quickly. Don't have internet. It's not connected to the internet yet. This should get an IP address, by the way. That our DHCP server should kick in now. So yeah, we've been going back and forward. We're all over the place. That's how we do it. So I've got a plan that I'm following. But why did that restart? That's interesting. Okay. All right. So I'm going to write Harry PC. I'm just going to put a password. I'm just going to. You shouldn't do this. Don't do this. So I just want to fly through this. In a production environment, you wouldn't be installing Windows 10 like this. You'd have a deployment system in place. All right, let it do its thing. We want to jump back into our IPAM server. Where is it? I've got to jump. There's my DHCP. Got all these boxes up and running. Where are we? VM. Should be this one here. So this is our IPAM server. Everything's running really well, except for a couple of niggly things. This is good. I was expecting a lot more issues. We haven't finished yet, but let's go to tool. Let's go to manage, add roles and features. Next. IP address management and install. This should work now. This should work. Remember the last time we had an error because we weren't logged onto the domain, but now we are. What it's doing now, it's grabbing. Once this is set up, it will have a look around our Active Directory and our domain, and we'll be able to find our DNS and our DHCP resources in one nice location. So that looks like it's moving kind of nicely. We haven't got much to go, actually. Where are we up to? So we have to install DNS on our third server, like proper, not just part of directory control, domain controller. We might go back to the domain controller and set up a GPO and log in as Harry Potter. Yeah, see how that goes. And after that, yeah, so we're getting close. It's been an hour and a bit, so it shouldn't be too much long. All right, now that IPAM is up and running and operational, we will go here, IPAM server here. Just might make this a bit bigger so I can see it. All right, so this IPAMs, it can be a bit of a bit annoying sometimes. It can be a bit of a pain to install, but let's do this slowly. This might take about 15 minutes, so it can be annoying to configure. Shouldn't be, but we'll do this step by step. So we'll go to connect IPAM. Yep. This is our server. Go to OK. We'll go to provision IPAM. We'll go to next. Okay, just double checking if do we need anything else. Should be okay. We'll next that again. GPO preference, the name preference. Let's we'll just call it IPAM for the GPO name preference. Read this. I won't explain it because we it'll take time. But I might do another episode on IPAM actually, and then we'll apply it. So this is creating some other settings for GPOs. Topic for another day. Actually, I forgot how complicated this server is to set up. So I will have to do another video to explain it more in depth. But at least this will get you going, get you up and running with IPAM on a server. So that's provisioned successfully, but there's still more work to do. We need to configure the server discovery. So now we have to go and find stuff now. So let's have a look. Let's go get some forest. Oh, so we have to wait. Okay. So I'm being a bit impatient here. We'll need to wait for this. Still, so it's discovered servers. Okay. Should be. Looks like it's complete. Okay. We'll go back here. Oh, good. So I was a bit impatient. We'll go to add. And then we'll select OK. Now we'll start the server discovery. And apparently this takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. And to keep an eye on it, there's a little blue sliding thing there. And it's got more. It says discovered, but I don't think that it is. Let me double check that again. Yep, 2 tasks. Oh, there it is. It's running, the top one. So this is going to take about 10-15 minutes. All right, let it do its thing. We'll come back to this. Let's jump into our Windows 10 client. Maybe later. Let's right-click this. Go to Systems. Aha. So this is what I was talking about, renaming a computer, right? So you can go into rename this PC, but that's not what we want. Not enough. We need to do some more things. So we'll have to go to rename this PC. Oh, sorry guys, I need to jump into my bad. Let me show you what I did. So this is our Windows 10 machine. Right-click Windows, System. If we click on Rename PC, it's not going to help. We'll need to go to rename this PC Advanced down here. That's where we access the system property. So I'm going to write Windows 10 Client. Before I do this, let's see if our DHCP server has worked. ipconfig/all. There we go, look at that. Our DHCP is working. It's given us a DHCP address. DHCP, that's where the DHCP server is. That's good. So our DHCP server is working. So we've done DHCP, out of the way. Let's set up a computer name, member of the domain. So we're going to log this computer on as harry.com. And probably need to restart again, yet again. This is our administrator. We might put Harry, the domain name, as administrator and put the password. And hopefully welcome to Harry domain. That's a good sign. We'll need to restart this. So this is our Windows 10 machine. It's got an IP address. It's going just about to log on to the domain, and we can log in as Luke Skywalker or Harry Potter. How's my... it looks like my IPAM server is finished, the discovery. Let's go back to it. If I can find it. I've got so much stuff going on here. It's crazy. There we go. So So it's complete. That's a good thing. Once it's completed, we have to configure manage service. So we have to select and add servers to manage and verify IPAM access. So it says blocked, right? Okay. So now what we have to do is, there's one more thing. We're very close, but we edit server, and we want to find DHCP server as well. This is tricky, and I'm trying to remember this. If we go to OK, right click. Hang on a sec. I'm going to put it on pause. It's been a while since I've done this, so. But you'll notice that there's two domain controllers here. I'm going to pause. I'll do the first one. It's just been a while since I've done this, and it's very tricky. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, looks like we're gonna. Yes, it's been a while since I've done this, and I forgot how complicated this was. We need to go to PowerShell to provision the GPO provisioning. Completely forgot about that. So we'll go into PowerShell. I'll do ISE, run as administrator. Script pane. I need a few seconds here. All right, let's type in the command. It's a rather lengthy one. I'm going to try and copy and paste this from a website that I'm looking at. Give me a second here. Okay, so I was working on the actual the PowerShell command, but I'll put this PowerShell command in the notes, in the description. But we need to invoke GPO provisioning, and this should work. Just double checking. Oh, let's see how that goes. If it doesn't, we'll try again. I might. Yeah, let me put pause again and see if we can find another way of fixing this. Okay, welcome back. We are not able to do IPAM on this this lab for some reason. I'm going to finish off the other parts that we have to do in this particular lab. I'll spend some time working out what happened to IPAM, and we might make another video for that. So we'll just continue on with where we were at. Now, we were at the point where we've configured DHCP. Let's set up a quick DNS server, and I believe that will be it for this lab, for this complete lab. I really do apologize for that, but it really should have worked. I've done everything correctly, and unfortunately it just didn't seem to go through. Never mind. We'll do another lab where it actually works. So let's jump into DHCP DNS server. If I can find it. A little bit rattled at the moment. I was really hoping to get that out of the way, but I hate failure, so I'll definitely really work on it and find out what happened. It's taking a long time to go through it. All right, so let's go to we're going to the DHCP and DNS, and we'll see how this goes. All right, now, so we've got DHCP running, and it's working fine. It's really good. Our Windows 10 client has been able to log on. Well, let's set up a DNS server here. Add roles and features. Just making sure that this is all good to go. Yep. Next up, add DNS, add features, next again, and install. So we've got DNS here, and it should retrieve all the DNS details from the other DNS service that we have, that we set up with directory, the domain controller. Once we've done this, we'll just make sure that it's loading all the DNS services. We will then, I'll do a quick GPO, a really quick one. Just a deny control panel access to a user Luke Skywalker. We'll log in as Luke Skywalker, and that'll be it for the lab. Alright, so if we go to Tools, DNS, and probably need to refresh it a few times. We'll just we'll wait for that to populate. We'll come back to this. Alright, so what we'll do is, I've just missed a step here. We'll go to right click. So we'll go to forward lookup zone. Right click, make a new zone, I believe. And we'll call it, this is going to be a secondary zone, won't be a, creates a copy of a zone that can be updated directly. Okay, so if it's a primary zone, yeah, we'll create a primary zone. The zone name will be, so we want to add, let me check this. It'll be Harry first DC.com, I believe that is, yeah. Yep. I'm going to allow all updates. I'm just going to go for it and finish. Hopefully that'll come through. Just going to double check that for a sec. Okay, once I just correct it, so I'm going to do it right here. Right click the actual domain. New zone, next. We'll make it a primary zone. Forward lookup zone, the zone name is, it is Harry first DC. .harry.com should be it. I'm trying to find, there's some issue here. Give me a sec. I think the issue here is I need to go to the primary domain controller, the first one. I think that could be the issue. Maybe I'm in the wrong area there. All right, we'll go back to DC1, Harry's first DC. We'll go to DNS. Try this one now. Okay, so yeah, so it should be, so we'll just show that again. So tools, DNS, forward lookup zone, Harry domain, right click, properties, go to name servers, and we're going to add a new name server to this. So this will be, the fully qualified domain name would be, oh gosh, it will be Harry DHCP DNS.harry.com. Let's see if we can resolve that. Yeah, that should be it, yeah, shouldn't it? I think that doesn't matter, that one there. It's okay if it's an X. Should be okay. Apply and okay. Then I have to go to the reverse lookup zone and right click the zone. There's no zone there, so it should be okay. We'll leave that as it is. Then we've installed the DNS on the other server. So let's go back to find out where it is first. Okay, yeah, there it is. So this is the DHCP DNS server. Okay, so now from here, let's check this one. So this is the server, this is the second server, this is the DNS server we want to install manually. Right click forward lookup zone, new zone, create a primary zone, and this is where we put in, now this is where we put the other configuration again. But actually, it should be secondary. We want a secondary copy. Alright, so this is the authoritative DNS. This is where the first, Harry first DC .harry.com. We'll go to next. And the IP address is 2. Alright, go to next, finish. And let's see how that works. I believe there's one step missing. Right click, transfer new copy of zone from master. Let's just try that again. Refused. Alright, I'm going to work on this, get back to you shortly. Okay, so we're having some problems with the DNS configuration. We'll have to pass that and we'll have to look at this in another way. Maybe there's some settings that that I haven't configured properly, but it's just one of those days where things are actually starting to go wrong, starting to collapse. So we'll need more time to actually configure. But let me just give this one more chance. DNS. This should definitely work. Uzone. We'll do a. Let's see if we can do a primary zone. See if that works. I'll try something else one more time. Alright, how about we try? I'm going to try one more thing. I've tried everything. So things are going wrong now, left, right, and center, which is good. We'll figure it out. It's just a matter of finding time. Yeah, things are just not happening. There's just things. Come keep trying. I don't give up, but yeah. Alright, we'll give that a miss. So we'll have to work on the DNS and also the what are we calling it? The IPAM. So I'm sorry about this. We'll work on this, but at least we've got most things done. Let's jump and let's get something working. Let's create a GPO on our first DC. Okay, we'll try that later. Alright, so group policy. We'll go to management, right click, create a GPO, and we'll say no control panel. Okay, right click, edit, policies, administrative, control panel, prohibit access, enabled, apply, OK. Cool. Let's jump onto, we'll jump onto the Windows 10 client. No, that's not going to look good. We'll log in here. So I haven't logged into a domain yet. We'll log onto a domain now. And then we might tomorrow, I might make another video on how to see if I can fix this. And we need to fix the DNS server and IPAM. That's really weird. This usually works really easily for me, but something about my setup it's not really happy with. All right, so I'll right click that. Setting. Oh, you know what? I need to log out. Sign out. I don't want to log in locally. Other user. All right, so we're going to sign into the Harry domain. And Luke, actually 1 second, I just need to double check who's in the management domain. Let's have a quick look. Harry Potter, okay. Let's jump into Harry Potter. H Potter. Login. And what we're hoping to see is that there's no control panel access to this. We'll just pause for this for a bit. Alright, so we've successfully logged in as Harry Potter. Let's see if we can get access to the control panel. Type control panel. And yeah, not working. Okay, so we got that working at least. So this is what we're going to do. We'll put this out. There's a lot of things that are working. What didn't work is the following. Let me bring up my whiteboard there. Okay, so we're able to create virtual machine, install Active Directory, promote a domain controller. We couldn't get the the secondary DC. Yep. Not really. No, we couldn't do that. User account easy. DHCP server is easy, but the DNS server and IPAM didn't work. So we will have to create a new video tomorrow to see if we can get that going. Okay. So we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll have a new video up and running, I hope. And thanks guys for your patience. I know this is a long video and we didn't quite get to achieve everything we wanted to, but we'll see how we go. Okay guys, we'll see if we can get this up and running tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening and see you soon.